Don't overcomplicate it for your customers. So I've worked with many companies that when their customer service team was on a phone call with a customer inquiring about their specific product or service, the internal team member would get really technical and they didn't even mean to, right? But they would ask really specific questions about something with a property or something with a product or service, and the customer didn't know it at that point, and therefore the customer would feel embarrassed. If you get asked a question and you don't know how to answer it, you typically will feel embarrassed. And you could hear it on these calls I was listening to. The customer would almost take a step back. And you don't ever want to have a customer feel that way, because even though you're the expert, you are the product knowledge professional, you know everything about your product and service. That's amazing, but your customer doesn't. And the reason they're on the phone with you is they want to learn more and they want to be educated. Now, that's what they desire, but they're not going to come on the phone and tell you, hey, I don't know anything about this product or service that I'm calling about, right? Let's say someone's going to get a new roof. They typically don't know much about a new roof. They're going to get a new fence. They don't know much about the fence. They just know they have a fence. But with that being said, they're talking to you because they want you to educate them. They want you to inform them as to what is linear footage, what are the different types of fences, how tall should it be, all these different things that people don't usually think about. They just know I have a wood fence in my backyard that needs to be replaced, right? So you always want to think about, okay, maybe where am I getting a little too technical on the phone? And if you've never thought of this before and maybe you're concerned about it, that's okay. Listen back to your calls and pretend that you're the customer, right? And so often when you're a product knowledge expert, and if you're watching this video, I know that you can get caught up in the details. And it's really important to make sure that the customer is really clear on what they're talking about and what you're educating them on. But on the initial phone call, it's not necessarily the place to do it, right? What you want to do is understand what are their wants, what are their needs, what are their desires, and how can we genuinely service them and fulfill those desires and even give them more than they asked for. So just think about that today on your calls. And if you're training your team, are we getting a little too complex and things that you might not even think about? Certain questions you just ask naturally because you know the answer and you need that information. Maybe think about, how could we say this in layman's terms? How could we explain this to someone that doesn't know anything about the product or service, even though they're in need of it? So don't get too complicated. Don't ever put the customer on their heels and make them feel like they kind of have to get defensive or they kind of have to chuckle and laugh because they feel now embarrassed on the phone. You just don't want people to have that experience with your company at any stage. So whether it's the first inbound phone call you get, whether it's after you've done an on-site estimation, whether it is after the fence has been built, the roof has been installed, now you're making follow-up visits to the client, you just want to make sure that you're educating them, you're making them feel comfortable, they're enjoying this process, and you will see the customer satisfaction rates skyrocket. Hope that helped. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and follow from